We have people do all kinds of crazy things to get customers taken care of. And I know a lady was in the checkout line at Walmart and her debit card wouldn't work one day. And a lady that runs our debit card department got the cash out of her account for her with the customer's permission, of course, and drove that to Walmart and delivered it to the customer. I mean, we just do whatever it takes to get the customer taken care of. And I think that's unique in today's banking environment.
Good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Amarillo City Commission held on the third floor of City Hall this Tuesday at 3 p.m. The first item of business on the agenda is the minutes from the last meeting held on July 23rd, 2013. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Not entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the minutes as presented.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. The next item of business is ordinance number 7416. This is the first reading of an ordinance updating the membership of the Risk Management Board to accurately reflect changes in the city's organizational structure since the board's 1987 inception. There's no other changes proposed for the board. Are there any questions about this item from the audience or from the commission? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move for approval of ordinance number 7416.
Second. A motion and a second for ordinance number 7416. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Ordinance number 7417. This is first review of an ordinance changing the zoning of a .96 acre portion of Area B amended Tascos Estates Unit 1, Section 11, Block 8, DS&F Survey, Potter County, in the vicinity of Trevino Avenue and Fairway Drive, from Planned Development District 165D to amended Planned Development District for the addition of 2 single-family detached lots. It's recommended for approval by a 6-0-1 vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Are there any questions about this item from the audience or from the commission? If not, we entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move we approve ordinance number 7417.
Second.
A motion and a second for ordinance number 7417. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Ordinance number 7418 is first reading of an ordinance changing the zoning of a 31.23 acre tract of unplatted land in section 231, block 2, ABM Survey, Randall County, in the vicinity of Farmers Avenue and City View Drive, from agricultural district to residential district 2. It's recommended for approval by a 7-0 vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Are there any questions about this item from the audience or from the commission? Not entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move for approval of ordinance number 7418.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance number 7418. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Ordinance number 7419. This is first review of an ordinance changing the zoning of a 4.54 acre tract of unplatted land in section 63, block 9, DS&F Survey, Randall County, in the vicinity of Sonsi Road, Loop 335, and Southwest 45th Avenue, from agricultural district to Planned Development District 375 for the outdoor new and used auto sales lot. It's recommended for approval by a 6-0-1 vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there any questions from the audience about this item or from the commission? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move for approval of ordinance number 7419.
Second.
A motion and a second for ordinance number 7419. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Ordinance number 7420. This is the first review of an ordinance amending ordinance number 7351 to clarify and reinforce section R970.1 of the 2012 International Residential Code related to residential roofing requirements. Are there any questions about this item from the audience? Sir, if you'd like to come forward, if you could, when you get up, if you'll state your name and address, and we'd like to ask you to keep your comments within 3 minutes, if you could.
I have just a short question. My name is David Alexander, 3502 Farwell Drive. I'm in the process, like a number of homeowners, trying to replace his roof. And I just wanted to clarify what the change says in the ordinance, because I'm directly affected by this as far as any extra costs I may have to pay related to what I think this ordinance covers.
Is it all right if I refer this to our city attorney, please? I think he has an explanation of that.
Sure. The City Commission adopted the 2012 International Residential Code. They also made some local amendments to it. When we adopted that code, we adopted Chapter 9 of that code in toto, completely, which would apply to both new construction and to repairs and restoration. After the great hailstorm we had in May, the vast majority of insurance adjusters and homeowner insurance companies have been completely cooperative in recognizing the adoption of this body of Chapter 9. And when the roofs are being replaced, they're being brought up to that current code provision. There was one large national insurance company that took a hyper-technical reading of it and has been arguing with the billing official. He did his best to negotiate with them, and we're making it abundantly clear for the benefit of that one national company that we meant what we said when we said we're adopting Chapter 9. That's really what it comes down to. So the cost to rebuild your roof to current code should be, I can't give you legal advice, and I don't know what your insurance policy says,
Sure.
but I would expect your insurance would pay that cost to bring it to current code.
I understand that also. I'm with that company as far as policyholder. And I did want to read one thing that it does say in my policy. It's just one sentence, and it's something called an ordinance and law endorsement I have in my policy, which covers any additional costs to cover a municipal ordinance such as this. And it says, building ordinance or law to state we will not pay for legally required changes to specific dwelling features, systems, or components that have not been physically damaged by the loss insured. And I've talked with this company, and they are implying, they haven't said for certain, they're implying that, and the ordinance regards a deck. I don't have a solid deck in my home. I have wood shingles. It has a wood sheathing deck. And they're implying, this company, that because the actual deck or sheathing deck was not physically damaged, that they may still not abide by what the commission is trying to do in making them pay for the solid decking.
Well, in that situation, all I can suggest is that you consult with a private attorney about your rights and your remedies under your insurance policy. Okay. This is our attempt. This is as much as the governing body can do.
I understand.
To try to help people such as yourself call out that fine.
And I appreciate that. I do.
It's our pleasure. We're sorry that,
yeah.
You know, there's something to be said when there's this one company is the outlier.
Right.
The other national insurance companies, your neighbor with a different homeowner's insurance, that company is taking an entirely different view of the law. So you may want to consult with your insurance broker too about who you insure with. But certainly go consult with an attorney.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Wish you the best. Thanks for the question. Are there any other questions from the audience about this ordinance? Any from the commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move we approve ordinance number 7420.
Second.
Motion and a second for ordinance number 7420. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes with a 4-0 vote. Ordinance number 7415 is the second and final reading of an ordinance reappointing existing judges now serving in the City of Amarillo Municipal Court. These appointments for the 2-year period are as follows: Sonia Letson, full-time presiding judge; Jennifer Cates, part-time associate judge; Donald Conley, part-time associate judge; Inda Crawford, part-time associate judge. Are there any questions about these appointments from the audience or from the commission? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move for approval of ordinance 7415, reappointing those mentioned, those named individuals.
And I second that motion, Harvey.
We have a motion and a second, a hearty second for ordinance number 7415, and I'd reflect that hearty second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hardy, aye.
Hearty aye. Opposed? That passes with a hearty affirmative. 4-0. Resolution annexation. This resolution closes a public hearing and sets a date for August 20th, 2013 for the first reading of an ordinance annexing 340 plus acres of land in section 65 block 9 BS and F survey, Randall County, Texas, in the vicinity of Sauncey Road and Arden Road. Is there any questions about this resolution from the audience or from the commission? Not entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of the resolution for the proposed annexation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the resolution annexation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Resolution for a public hearing. This resolution conducts a public hearing for potential environmental impacts and alternatives for a proposed water pipeline. Proposed transfer pipeline will connect the new high-service pump station at Osage Water Treatment Plant with the Arden Road pump station. It will increase capacity for current and future growth in the area. Any questions about this item? Anything that needs to be said about this from
Mayor, might suggest, Emmett, would you or Mr. Furman like to lead this off? There's a prescribed series of events that need to occur during this particular hearing.
Okay, great. Mr. Oxford, you can go through
Good day.
a prescribed series of events.
I'm actually going to defer that to Mr. Lynn Sperlin with HDR Engineers, and I'll be over here to answer the 0 questions you have for me.
Thank you for being here.
We'll get everything covered that we've got to do through this presentation and this short presentation I've got. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for letting us do this during your commission meeting. And welcome to the public hearing for the Arden Transfer Pipeline and Pump Station Improvements Project. This is a public hearing on an environmental information document that has been available to the public for, I believe it's been 30 days. It only needs to be available for 15 days, but it's been available for longer than that. And this is a public hearing that needs to happen per Texas Water Development Board guidelines. Please go to the next slide. As Emmett said, my name is Lance Berlin. I'm with HDR Engineering, and I'm the project manager helping the city out with this project. To give a little project background, just to let you guys know about this project. In 2010, so this project's been around for a while, the city had a routing study and a report done to figure out how to route this pipeline from the Osage Water Treatment Plant to the Arden Road pump station. After that report was finalized in 2010, the city applied for funding with the Texas Water Development Board, and it was unsuccessful. The city had tried again 2 years later in 2012 and was successful, and that's why we're here today. And the Texas Water Development Board has funding requirements, and two of them are to develop an engineering feasibility report, which we are currently in the process of putting together, and then also prepare this environmental information document, which is what we're holding this public hearing about. The purpose of this hearing is to describe the project to everybody here, and then discuss the potential impacts of the project and alternatives that we've looked at to doing it. Report estimated costs of the project, estimated cost increase to customers, the city and customers, and then have a question and answer period at the end for everybody that has it. Hopefully everybody can see this map. This is just going to describe the project to you, what we're doing. The red line there is the proposed pipeline route that we have come up with. That was the preferred route out of that routing study in 2010. If you look at the top right-hand corner, that is the Osage Water Treatment Plant. That's the beginning of the pipeline. And then the pipeline goes south down Osage, turns west on 58th Street. And then once it gets past the Venus Railroad, right there, it parallels the railroad. This is where there's a small piece here, probably about a half a mile or so, that's going to require an easement. And then once it gets to Farmers Road, it takes Farmers Road to Western, goes south a little bit to Arden Road, and travels on Arden Road until the connection point. Just to explain a little bit about why we're doing this project and why it's important. The city's divided into two major pressure zones, and they call those the Osage pressure zone and the Sonsi pressure zone. The city of Amarillo, as you go west, goes up in topography. So there's a point which that dotted line represents to where the Osage pressure zone can no longer provide enough pressure to the western part of the city. So that's why there's that line. So you can really look at these as two separate distribution systems. The Sonsi pressure zone operates at a higher pressure because it has to, because of the higher elevation. Osage is not. And also in the very left-hand corner, which is the little orange square box there, that's the Arden Road pump station. That's just west of the Coulter Road and Arden Road intersection there. And as you see, our pipeline actually doesn't go all the way to Arden Road. And the reason for that is in 2005, 2006, when the city built the Arden Road pump station, they actually put in a mile of this pipe, this 36-inch pipe. So that's already there, so we're going to connect to there. And what happens right now, the way Arden Road pump station gets its water, it actually, I'll say, steals water from the Osage pressure zone. So there's two disadvantages there. One is you can only get so much water to Arden, and the other is it really lowers the pressures in that southern Osage pressure zone area. So that's the reason for this pipeline. We can double the capacity to get water from the plant to Arden Road, and then we also will reduce that stress on the Osage pressure zone. This is a schematic of Arden Road itself. This is the site plan that was used during the construction of Arden Road. And the plan is to, and the pump station was set up with connection points and the extra space to install another 2.5 million gallon ground storage tank. This will be a buried tank just like the other one. And then also install a 7 MGD, million gallon per day pump station, or not pump station, but pump into that empty bay. There's an empty bay there to put that in. This will increase the Arden Road pump station. Its current firm capacity is 14 MGD. It's going to increase that to 21 MGD. Going back to the 2010 routing study that was done, there were several alternatives that we looked at. Pretty much every possible alternative to get from the plant to our connection point was looked at, but with the city, we came up with 3 feasible alternatives that we looked at. The red line, as you can see, is the line that you've already seen. That's our preferred recommended route. The yellow line actually goes down to Osage, another mile down to Farmers, and takes Farmers the rest of the way. We also looked at the green line, which is similar but different. It goes south down Trade Winds to Farmers. Our preferred recommended route was actually the better route in 2 ways. One, it went through more rural area. It was shorter, which decreased the cost compared to the other 2 alternatives by about $400,000. So that is why we ended up selecting the route that we're at today.
Wouldn't it be much less in the purchase of right-of-way also?
It's not much less, it's a little less. The yellow line actually, the track between Osage and Trade Winds would all have to be purchased right away. The green line was the only line that didn't have to purchase any right away. So there was an advantage over the yellow line, but not necessarily the green line. But there was still, 1,000 feet of pipe was really the big savings. Let's go to the next slide. So some of the impacts of the project, there's beneficial impacts, but there's also some adverse impacts. Most of the adverse impacts are temporary impacts, and the beneficial impacts are more long-term. Some of the beneficial impacts are you'll be able to get more water out to your growth area, which will increase economic conditions for the city. It's going to relieve stress on the Osage pressure zone like we talked about, which is going to increase water pressure in both the Osage pressure zone and the the Sonsi pressure zone, because we'll be able to get more water in that area. This is also going to increase fire protection in both pressure zones, and it will also keep the city for many years to come up with the TCEQ regulations. TCEQ is Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Some of the adverse impacts, which these are going to be the temporary impacts during construction. These are going to be traffic impacts as we're building the pipeline down these right-of-ways and down the streets. There is a little bit of easement acquisition that's going to have to happen. We're going to disrupt some businesses and some residences temporarily. There's going to be some short-term environmental impacts, but we will be requiring the contractor to provide an erosion control plan, submit that, as well as a stormwater pollution prevention plan, and file those with the state. So that's going to mitigate some of those issues. And then there's also the cost of the project. The EID requires that we contact several agencies and let them know about the project and let them know about the environmental issues with the project. Named all these off, there's 11 of them. There's one bolded. All the ones that everyone that didn't have a problem with the project, they were okay, they said go forward with the project. The one that did not was the Texas Historical Commission. They asked that we provide an archaeological survey to look for cultural resources throughout the pipeline route and at the pump station. We have done that, or the city has done that.
What are you looking for?
Undisturbed soils and potential artifacts is what I understand that they were looking for. What I heard is that they don't have this area very well surveyed, and I think they used this project as a way to do that.
Now they do.
Yeah, now they do. We did a report on that. We have filed that with the Texas Historical Commission, and we're waiting on them to respond. We don't expect them to hold this project up because there was nothing found on the dig test showed that everything was previously disturbed. So I think we're good to go.
Do some of these agencies repeat their services to us taxpayers by checking these things 3 times before?
I don't know the answer to that, but maybe.
Wow.
Next slide, please. Estimated cost of the project. The estimated cost of this project, and this is going to include all engineering costs and all construction costs, all testing costs, is $16.9 million. This is early stage of the project, and usually our estimates are a little bit high. They carry a high contingency. I don't expect it to go any higher than this. And based on that cost, the estimated cost to an average Amarillo customer monthly cost is $1.14 that we'll see in the line. And now I'd like to open it up for the question and answer period. From anybody from the audience or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to ask a question?
Just, Mayor, if I may say, just so that we don't seem disinterested, we've been studying this project for a long time, so we actually know about this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We didn't mean to sound flippant about it, but we've
No,
been
no.
looking at this for a while.
Yeah.
We're very pleased that you're here with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Wish you had to report to a few less agencies, but at any rate,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. City Manager, does that fulfill the requirements of the hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I believe that does. I think the appropriate action at this point would be to consider closing the public hearing and consider the attached resolution.
Okay, we would close the public hearing and consider the resolution that's attached. Is there any comments on the resolution from the audience or from the commission? Entertain a motion then?
Yes, Mayor, let me see if I can verbalize this properly. I move that we close this public hearing and that we provide approval of the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Appointments of boards and commissions. Appointments needed to the following boards. The Downtown Urban Design Review Board. Do we have any nominations for those positions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to nominate for reappointment, for 3-year terms, Chan Davidson, David Horsley, Wes Reeves, and Dana Walton.
And I will second that motion.
A motion and a second for reappointment of all 4. Are there any comments from the audience? From the commission? I would just say they've done a great job, and we're glad they're all willing to return. They've done a good job. A motion and a second for appointments to boards and commissions as outlined. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. Consent agenda. The following items be approved that the city manager be authorized to execute all documents necessary for each transaction. A, the award of radio communication and school flashers and traffic signals. B is the acceptance of an amendment to agreement in principal grant contract. C is the sale of property. D is the approval of aviation clear zone easements. E is the approval of license and hold harmless agreements. Are there any items that need to be removed for separate consideration by the commission? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments from the audience on the consent agenda from the commission? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 4-0 vote. That concludes the agenda for today's meeting. We'll move back to meeting or executive session. Vote.
We'll do work session first, Mayor, followed by closed session.
Okay. It's ever customary at this time that we allow citizens of this community with matters not on the agenda today pertaining to the city's policies, programs, and services to speak to the commission. And the floor is now open for that comment. Is there anyone who would like to come forward and make a comment?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Since no one stepped up, I have a comment. I want to invite, of course, I wish we had a full house today, but I still want to invite the public. We begin our budget hearings a week from today. It's planned to begin at 8 o'clock in the morning and go till 5, or in the case of next Tuesday, we'll go to this meeting is over with, this evening meeting. But we'll go from 8 to 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday if necessary. And we get a lot of feedback from the public regarding our budget. I would invite those people to come and really learn what our budget is, what goes into it. We study it line by line by line in a container, a booklet that's about this thick.
No exaggeration. That's what it is.
It's a lengthy, tedious process, but this commission and previous commissions, at least for the last 4 terms I've worked, have studied it very in depth. And I would invite the public to come. They won't, but I would invite them to come. They might learn something that would surprise them about our budget. So anyway.
Well, I think to note too, to amplify what you're saying, Jim, it is an educational process for us. And it is every year for department heads and for the city manager to learn exactly where we're paying the taxpayer to pay in and where it goes. And so we are not saying that flippantly. We would encourage anybody to come and listen, and hope the news media would pass that along. We encourage people to come and listen. We listen and we learn and we adjust, and so that's the process. It is tedious, but it is very, very important to the city. So, and I think one of the reasons why we maintain the AAA bond rating higher than most cities in Texas. I think we're one of 5 in Texas and one of 28 in the country out of 33,000 rated that have a AAA bond rating. Part of it is because of what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. And I think the city manager and departments have been working on this for months to get it ready. So we thank them. And
where is the meeting exactly?
those meetings are held in the work session, which anybody's welcome to come to. Sit along the edge in the peanut gallery there, and if we get enough, we'll have to do it somewhere else. But
I'd love to have to move in here.
that's right.
And what's the exact date?
Starting next Tuesday, 1 week from today, 8 in the morning until 5.
For 3 days. Okay.
At least 3 days.
Any other comments from the audience? If not, we'll move back to our work session. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance.